Hello, everybody. Welcome to Grab a Cup of Knit and Chat, episode 17. It's June the 9th, 2024, and it's about 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. It's a nice warm day, and this is the second time I'm doing this video. So, I've been having some issues with my videos getting lost almost as soon as I make them or what have you. Anyway, I'm not a very big editing person. I'm not, I'm just a grandma who likes to knit, who likes to sew. Excuse, excuse me. Every time I start the camera, I get the hiccups. I am so sorry. But I like to knit, I like to sew, I like to crochet, I like to hand quilt, I like to embroidery, I like to cross stitch, and I'm even doing a plastic canvas. So here we go. Maybe this one will be a little bit shorter, a little bit more to the point. I don't ramble on so much. For those of you that are new, welcome. I tend to ramble. If I look off or I close my eyes, I'm usually thinking about what I'm going to say, or I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say. But at the same time, you'll hear my fan going. No apologies. I'm a hot person. Um, we're going to get right into it with I made these videos, or I started making these videos because my best friend is still in Washington. I'm in Oregon. We used to get together a couple of times a week, have tea, watch TV, movies, just have a chat, and we would knit. So, or crochet, or whatever craft we were doing that day. So the knit and cuppa thing just kind of came across like that. We would just sit and have a cup of tea and knit. So there you go. There's the video title. I'm having coffee in my caffeine potion mug. I love this mug. I got it from a local shop. It's adorable. I love it. My coffee's cold. Anyway, Crazy Sock Ladies Summer Sock Camp started on May 24th and it goes until August. I'm not sure when in August, but I have a couple of pairs finished. I'll show those real quick. So this pair is from Heritage Print, Heritage Cascade Heritage Prints. That's this. It's a short sock with an afterthought heel. I do mine on US 1 needles. I do the cuff however I feel that day. I think this was a 10 round cuff because I'm doing shorter socks. And I can't remember if I did 30 or 40 rounds. I do a 60 stitch count for my foot and then 60 rounds for the foot. And then I do an afterthought heel. And this one, I believe I did the 5 rounds of knitting and then the decreases. Um, I wash these, but I don't put them on sock blockers. I put them on a clothes hanger after squeezing out the water or rolling them in a towel, whatever I feel like doing that day. I put them on the clothes hanger like this, and then I hang the clothes hanger on my shower curtain rod in my bathroom. These were started on May the 25th, and they were finished May the 30th. The next pair is out of my Yarnable May Sock Club, which is berry citrus something. I'm not real good at the notes thing. I am so sorry about that. I'm trying to get better and I'm trying to get better at doing editing stuff. But you know what? You're just getting me. We're sitting, we're having a cup, we're chatting. I did 10 or I think this one was a 15 round cuff. The yellow is stash yarn, the minty color is stash yarn, and then the rest is the yarnable colorway. I did the afterthought heel here too, and the very tip of the toe, the last, um, I think it's 4 or 5 rounds is done in the yellow as well. Again, 60 stitch sock. I did a shorter round this time. I think I did a 20 round for the leg before placing for the heel, and then 60 rounds for the foot. And then I went on into the toe with that yarn and finished with the yellow. But on this afterthought heel, I don't think that I'm still trying to find the perfect heel for me. I like that afterthought heel, but I don't think it's deep enough. So I did 5 round, and I think it could be a little bit deeper. So this round, including the pickup stitches, is 8 rounds of knitting. And then I go into the decrease. I think that's going to help a lot. I don't know if some people count the pickup stitch or if they start counting after the picking up the stitches. And I may start counting after picking up stitches, but it's 8 rounds, including the pickup. These were started, I don't know. I don't remember when I started them, but it was around the same time that I was finishing these up. So around the 30th, but they were finished on June the 4th. It doesn't take me quite as long when I just sit down and pick them up, especially when I'm doing the shorter leg. I mean, I don't ever want to say the word obviously, but it does take less time. Um, the next pair that I have is my partner's socks, which I have started on May the 24th. And I have one whole sock and I started the other. I'm doing magic loop. I did these 2 pair on magic loop. I'm doing this pair on magic loop. I tend to go magic loop when my hands hurt. Right now, these 2 fingers are really, really bothering me. This one, because I cut the tip off and the ligaments never healed right. So it's always in this position, or it's straight and it's never flat straight. It's just, it hurts usually. But right now, today, this right here is really killing me. So I do mine where these are a 20 round. So there's round 10, there's round 20, and then I have 10 rounds on the leg done. We have about the same size feet. So I do the same length of leg. So I do 60 rounds for the leg, and then I place for my heel, and then I start counting again and do 60 rounds. When I place for my heel, the first marker is that 60th round, and then there's here it is. The first marker is the 60th round, and then I knit a round, and then on that second round that I knit, I place a marker again. So then I start counting from this marker to 10 rounds. That gives me my last round is a pickup and then an extra pickup and then the part that I cut into. And then I do the toe, and these will have afterthought heels. The reason I haven't done the afterthought heel on this one yet is these are Seahawks colors, and it's kind of, as you can see, the darker greenish looking color there. It is a green, but it's like an extremely dark green, almost like a deep, deep forest green going into the charcoal. So I think I have some charcoal yarn, which I usually use Heritage sock yarn, in a gray, a charcoal, and a cream color for heels, toes, and cuffs if I don't have anything else. So I'm thinking about doing a charcoal heel on these, but the rest of the sock is all that color. This is from Wild Poppy Fibers. But I did notice whenever I started the second one on there, I normally do a 64 stitch count for his socks, and these are 60 stitch counts because I wasn't thinking about who I was making them for. So I'm kind of hoping that they fit okay and they're not too tight for him. But I think they will be because our feet are pretty much about the same size. Um, the next sock that I have is there's no rhyme or reason. They're scrappy socks. I reached into a bag of scraps. I pulled out yarns. I'm not thinking about what I'm putting next to each other. I'm not color coding. I'm not doing anything. Because quite honestly, who's really looking at your feet besides you? So if it looks okay to you, it's a perfect sock. So these I'm doing in tandem again with Magic Loop. I'm doing 10 rounds. I think I did 10 rounds for the cuff. And then each color is 10 rounds. So there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then on this one, because this is the one that I'm working now, I marked for my heel. And then I'm using that last marker. I actually, on this one, did I? I did. On this one, I marked for my heel, but I used a different color. I don't know if you can see it right there in between my two colors. And I used a waste yarn and I knit across where I normally would. And then I didn't turn it in the round, I just purled back and picked up the working yarn color and snipped that off. So this separation here is where I'll put my heel. So I'll pick up the stitches from the last row of this color and the first row of this color, and my heel will go right smack in the middle. So that's how I'm doing those. Um, those are being worked like right now. I'm working on this one. As soon as those 10 rounds are done, I will cut that color and I'll move it to this one and do 10 rounds and start another and place my heel and start another color. And it's just a cream that I'm using for a waste yarn so that I can go in and I won't have to cut in. I can just take that waste yarn out because it's not sewn in or anything, and go from there. I think Nitty Natty on YouTube from Love and Stitches has the tutorial that I use on how to use waste yarn instead of cutting in for an afterthought heel. I guess whenever you plan it out like that, they call it a forethought heel, but I still call it an afterthought heel. What else? This one's going by really fast. The other one was a really long video. Um, Other than the hands hurting, I've been listening to books, which I listen to audiobooks to and from work because I have like a 45-minute drive to work and from work every day. So I get to listen to my audiobooks, and I have some paper books that I'm trying to work in reading and knitting at the same time. I do that with watching YouTube videos or riding in the car. So I would really like to add that to just reading and knitting because of the fact that I'm getting really irritated with myself with how much my TV is on. But now I'm going into the crochet. I have my Jethro cardigan. These are my colors. Isn't that awesome? So this one, this pink, and the middle are all Cascade Superwash 220. And The purple is Stylecraft that I had in my stash. And then this darker coral color is actually Pioneer Woman acrylic yarn from uh, Walmart. I went in there one day and I saw it was on clearance for like $3 a skein, and I got two skeins of it and I brought it home and it went perfectly with these colors. I'm doing the Jethro cardigan, the next to the last size, so I need a 5 round square. And I needed the one, I was going to do double this color and just put this color here, or do 2 rounds of that lighter pink and have the purple here, but I really didn't like the way either one of those looked. So my other color is this creamy color. This is what my main color is. And that's what I'm using to do the join as you go method. This is what it looks like as it's joined. I'm in the middle of joining the last two on this one, so it's hanging down. But here's some that are joined up. So this is 3 tall. And the first one that I showed that I was making was completely scrappy with like a creamy white color. And I got it done all the way down to the, I did the ribbing at the bottom, the hem, and I did the button band, but the button band was too tight. And then I don't know, I've heard it several times. I don't know why I didn't do it. They say if your cast off is too tight or your bind off is too tight to go up a needle size. I've never done it. We were talking about socks at a Fiber Fest in Scio, Oregon that I went to. Me and a couple of ladies, and that's why I stopped doing toe up socks, is because my bind off was so tight. And they were like, just mind blowing. Use a larger needle when you bind off, even 2 sizes if you need to, but use a larger needle because my bind off is always too tight. So the band on that other one was really tight, especially right in here, and it hiked it up in the front, and I don't like that. And the cardigan is already a cropped cardigan if you go by the pattern. So in this one, I'm going to take that other one. I'm taking the button band and everything off, and I'm still going to use those squares that I did. And I may just go back and add another line of squares and have that completely scrappy because there's no color rhyme or reason with that one. Um, it was just going to be my go clamming cardigan, you know, let's take it to the beach. This one's more of my put together office attire cardigan. Um, but I'm doing, it's supposed to be 4 rows, 4 squares tall. I'm going to do 5 squares tall, and then I'm going to lay it against the back of my neck, even though there's going to be that binding. But if it comes down to about where I want it at that point, then I'll stop. If not, I'll do a 6th row because it's really cropped on me. It comes to the top of my waistband, and I do not like wearing shirts that are to the top of my waistband. I always want them to be about mid hip because I have a larger midsection and I don't like showing that off at all. If I was a little skinny mini, I'd be showing my midriff. I'd be wearing those cropped things, but I'm not. So there you go. That's my work right now in progress. I had to go get some more um, yarn for that one, so now I can finish. The other thing is, let me reach down here and grab it. My blanket of knowledge. squares. I'm not sure if I showed the squares or not, but this is the April square. I'm doing the enchanted colorway. This is April. It looks kind of wonky. I was trying to block it without pinning, but I was trying to stretch it out. April's color was Sky Over Hot Springs Fiber Co. So, those of you that don't know, Hot Springs Fiber Co. has this kit that's monthly that's called Blanket of Knowledge. And you can either do knitting or crochet. You can do a striped blanket or you can do a squares. I'm doing the crochet and I'm doing squares. And each month is a different stitch. So I'm kind of getting it out of my box and learning new stitches. And I'm putting each month in a Ziploc with the pattern. It comes with a mini on the color, and the mini is always the same. Like this is April's and this is May. The mini is always the same because that's what you're going to use to put your blocks together with. Or if you're doing the stripe, it goes with a different stitch pattern in the middle of the stripes to separate the months. And this is May. And I like it. I'm learning new stitches. It's not, they haven't been totally difficult, but I didn't know how to do a foundation half double crochet or a half double crochet foundation row, which is where you're doing your chain and your first row of stitches at the same time. Oh my God, I love that. So I'm learning some stitches. There's a feather stitch as this was May's, and I don't remember what April's stitch was, and now I'm just waiting on June. So in the box it tells you in the pattern how to weigh your yarn and um uh do your first stitch pattern row and then weigh your yarn again to see how many times you can either do that stitch pattern for your strip blanket or how many blocks you can make out of the yarn that's sent, which is 100 grams. And May took more than April. April's stitch didn't use as much yarn. May's stitch used more yarn. And so I think I'm just going, well, I don't think, I know. I'm only going to do 2 blocks each month, which after a year of getting the boxes will give me 24 blocks, 2 of each one. And that's going to be plenty large enough, especially after you combine it. And I'm thinking about doing a join as you go binding on them and just kind of splitting them up or whatever they have in mind. I don't know how they have in mind of binding them together, but once I'm done, um, I think that's going to be plenty big enough. That'll be 24 squares. Um, that's what I like about it. You can kind of do it however you want to do it. But yeah, the other thing that I'm doing is let me grab my box. Where did I put my box? There it is. I got this cute little basket. It's just a El Cheapo basket that I got, but it's made kind of like a picnic basket. And one thing I like about it that I noticed is I have it open and the handles will come straight through the top and the side. So you can still pick it up and move it while you have it open if there's a need for that, which I happen to need that. And that's what happened because I moved it from the ironing board over here. So what this is called Dot a Day. And I got these gorgeous flannels. This is my favorite. It's 100% cotton flannel material that looks like wool tweed. And I love them. They're so tweedy looking. I wanted tweed material, but tweed material, true wool tweed material here, I guess is not as easy to come by as it is in the UK. But anyway, I threw together a little needle pouch for myself. It's totally just scrap fabrics sewn together with a piece of felt flipped right side out, and I stitched down the middle to kind of give it that little fold piece, and that's all it is. So 4-inch squares cut out of my material, ironed over for a seam allowance. I started out with a 3.5 inch, but I went down to 3-inch fold over square, and then I just kind of pressed it over to give me that allowance. But when I did the 3.5 inch, I didn't have enough around the edge for me. So I went down to the 3 inch. So they're all ironed. Now I'll go in and do an invisible basting to close that off. They'll all be the same size because I have that press mark now. You want to do it pretty soon after you press it, which I just pressed these. And I did, what's the other one that I did? I have this red too. I did a red one. I don't know what happened to that one. It may still be on the ironing board, and it is. Um, and then you have different size circles that you cut out of regular material. I'm using my scraps. Um, I used my Cricut machine to cut out 2-inch circle templates, 1-inch circles, and 1.5-inch circles. And now that I did the 3-inch on here instead of the 3.5 inch, you can see where it's going to be folded over, and a 2-inch still gives you plenty of room. Sorry. So that's as large as I'm going, and this is as small as I'm going. And then you just take those circles and you applique them on. And then you can embellish with embroidery thread. Like I'm going to go around the heart here with a back stitch. Now you can see pencil marks on here. That's where I traced the circle. Okay. And then I went in and I left a little extra room around that and cut it out. And I'm not good with cutting with scissors, but the point is when you're appliquing, you'll have that to go by. That's where your stitches are going, and you can turn it under and do your stitch right along that line and just keep folding under. But I didn't leave, I don't think, enough to fold under, especially on this one because it's so close. But one of the things that you can do is you can lay it on there and do your applique stitching on that traced circle and leave the edge raw so it'll fray a little bit. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Part of the thing is you pin these, but I have some of that fabric spray based. I think I'm going to spray baste these to the squares so it's a little easier for me to go around that trace. I'm going to leave the raw edge there and let it do its thing. But I think for me to hand stitch with my fingers being so bad, that instead of just pinning, if I'm just thinking out loud, if I spray baste it, it's going to hold it in place. So I'm not having to really hold it difficult. I'm not sure. But they'll all be the same size. They'll look like that. I'll embellish. You can look on YouTube for Dot a Day and see, I can't remember that woman's name, but that's what I'm working on. I think I'm going to spend the afternoon working on that. I've got it in this cute little basket. That's a Timu item. No sponsorship. It is really light. It's it's more well made than I thought it would be, but it did come and it was a little cracked right there because they didn't put it in a box for shipping. They put it in just paper packaging and shipped it, which I was really annoyed with. But what can you ask for? $5 or $6 basket. It's for hand sewing objects. I'm really thinking about getting up a couple more. Honestly, I love my little baskets. Um, what else did I have to talk about? Not a whole lot. Not really. It's just been go to work, come home, knit a little bit, watch some YouTube, try to stay cool on those days. I do have some material that I would like to do some more rice bags out of. I really like those too. I think I would like to do all of my project bags. I like these little bags, but at the same time, I'm learning that I don't like zipper bags, and I made a couple of zipper bags. I I don't mind it so much just to carry something in, but as a project bag, this right here is what I had these socks in when I went. Um, no, I had this pair of socks in this or a similar bag like this when I went to the fiber festival, and I had this under my arm, and the yarn was catching on the zipper, and there's nowhere to hold it. I don't like the zipper bag. Although this one has a loop that you can put like a carbiner on and you can hang it from like your backpack or something. I have a backpack purse that I carry, and you can hang it from there or what have you, but I don't like it catching in the zipper. Um, so I think I'm gonna go through and make me a lot of the rice bags because they're just drawstring and they're simple squares, and you can make them large, you can make them small. I think the one that I made with the gnomes, I think I've shown it on here before, is a 6-inch square. I just cut out 6-inch squares of my outer fabric and my lining fabric, and I sewed them all together, which made about a 5-inch square. And they're simple little box shaped bags, and you put tabs on the top, and you can run bias tape in there or cord or make an I cord or whatever you want to do for your drawstring. And I love it. I love it. You've got it's 10 squares total. You can use fat quarters to do it. There's YouTube videos. Um, They're simple. You can make them as flimsy or as stiff as you want because you can quilt each side if you want to. Um, yeah, I even have some faux leather. I'm thinking about doing the bottoms in faux leather on the outside. So we'll see. Um, what else have I got? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I didn't show you my quilt top that I'm making. Let's see. So this is my snuggly bear. That's a square. This square turned out almost on point. So you got the bears is one as a size, the hearts is the same size, and then you got smaller squares with the sashing around it to equal the sides. This is two big block sections. I call it my snuggly bear quilt. I will be alternating the bears and the hearts as you see here. The quilt pattern does I'm calling each four square piece my quilt block because that's the finished look. So my quilt block, um, the pattern has just these two quilt blocks. So you're doing it like two wide and four down. I think I want to do it three wide and maybe five down. I have 16 of the bears and I went and got more of the heart material. And I think what I want to do is do it three wide, but I need to do what it calls for first. So I'm going to do two wide and four down just to see if I have enough of this material now, because I should have had enough for that with this material the first time. But when I laid it out to cut it, I thought I was being smart and I was folding it to cut it, and I folded it the wrong way. And then I didn't get as many squares out of it as I was supposed to. So, yeah, really pay attention to that. I'm a beginner quilter. I don't claim any fame to quilting, but I could not resist those little bears. Aren't they so cute? Yeah. So that's the quilt that I'm working on. And I probably should do some more of that. I have so many projects going. I really do need to dwindle it down to, and I'm talking all projects. I need to finish something and I need to dwindle it down to having no more than 4 to 6 projects going at once. And that's including the quilting and the hand quilting. I have 2 English paper piecing projects. One of them is large 4-inch 4-inch hexies that I've done, and I have all of the flowers put together for that. I'm just sewing the flowers to the main color, so to speak. Because I have a gray color that I'm doing that with, and then I have all those together. And then what else is it? I have the cross English paper piecing quilt that I'm doing, or the plus. I call it the plus or the cross, whatever it's called. And then I want to do the dot a day. I wish I did not have a 8 to 5 job 5 days a week. Then I could do all of it, but then I wouldn't be able to afford any of it. So I enjoy my job. I do take projects with me for break time, lunchtime, Zoom meetings. I knit during meetings. That way I don't have to look at like sock knitting when I'm just working on a leg or the foot of a sock. I can do that without looking. I can do it and I'm paying attention to what's being said. I say this all the time. It helps keep me sane because otherwise my brain would be going everywhere and I wouldn't hear a thing that the speaker is saying. So it helps me to do that. I do it when I'm listening to audiobooks when I'm at home. I can sit on the front porch and knit and have my earbuds in and listen to my audiobooks, and it helps me retain what the books are about. Um, what else is it? I think that's about it. I think that's enough. So you go have fun with the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the warm weather, the warm weather. If you are in the atmosphere for so, enjoy your cooler weather if you're in cooler climates. But smell the roses, have some fun, take some time. You do you, but take care of you. Bye.